Hey, my name's Aurélie. I am from Brussels, Belgium, and I am studying translation from English and Spanish to French. French, which is my native language. I finished my first year of uni in June, did it quite well, and a bit more than a year ago, when I was on YouTube looking for information on that kind of studies, I didn't find a lot of stuff. So now that my first year is done, I figured that maybe I could try to do my own thing. And yes, maybe it's gonna help you. Who knows? Well, I hope so. But keep in mind that what I'm gonna say is just about me, my experience, my point of view, and I am sure that if you ask another student, they're gonna have a different opinion. But here it is. Also, yeah, keep in mind that what I'm gonna say was about my university. It might be a bit different from a university to another. It should be more or less the same because translation is translation, but yeah, might be a bit different. And I think that's it. How I'm gonna do it is that this episode is just gonna be me explaining the different subjects that I had last year, and yeah, trying to summarize what we saw. So it's just a summary. Of course, we saw more than what I'm just gonna say, but like that, you have more or less an idea of how we study translation in Brussels, Belgium. I think that's it. Let's go. So, first of all, for me, there are three different kind of subjects. You have subjects that you have during the whole year, so first semester and the second one. You have disciplines or subjects that you just have during the first semester, and others that you just have during the second semester. We are gonna begin with the subjects that you have during the whole year, so both semesters. First of all, French grammar. It's, yeah, sounds a bit basic, but yeah, as we are gonna have to translate stuff from a foreign language to French, or French needs to be perfect almost. So yeah, we just saw the basics, so the nouns, determiner, adjectives, pronouns, and verb tenses. We also saw the use of capital letters, when to use them, when not to use them. That's pretty it. Then in French lexicology, we saw new vocabulary every week, and for each new word, we would have to know its definition, two synonyms and two antonyms when they exist. Of course, you don't have to imagine them if they don't, but if they did exist, you had to know them by heart, and you also had to be able to use the word in a sentence that would make sense. Oh, I forgot to say, grammar, it was an hour and a half a week, and lexicology 1 hour a week, but the other subjects, most of them were 2 hours a week. There are some exceptions, I'm gonna say them, but most of them 2 hours. Then we had English grammar, so we saw the conjugation during the first semester, and then during the second semester, we learned the English phonetics, which I still struggle a little bit, as you can hear. I really hope that you can understand me. I think so, but if, yeah, there are some parts you didn't understand, maybe you can write the time code in the comments, and I'll do my best to say, oh yeah, I was saying blah blah blah. And we also learned about parsing, which was very difficult for me, just as phonetics, two very difficult topics for me. But I'm gonna talk about what was hard and what was easy, let's say, in another episode, maybe next week. I don't know yet. So that's it for English grammar. Then we had English vocabulary and writing, reading, this kind of stuff. So yeah, it was really focused on learning new vocabulary about human body, health, clothes, weather, tourism, eating, drinking, time, money, stuff like that. And yeah, it was very useful because then you would use that vocabulary in English grammar and in the next subjects I'm gonna talk about. And we also had to be able to read a text and answer questions linked to the text. So yeah. And the last English subject I had during the whole year was English oral. So speaking, talking, and being able to understand. So basically listening also. So what we would do was watching YouTube videos in English, of course, and then we had to answer some questions and saying the answers out loud when everybody was done. So yeah, practicing hearing and talking and understanding. Anyway, you got the idea. Then we had more or less the same for the Spanish language. So we had Spanish grammar, where we saw all the basics, a little bit like in French, because in English they think that you have some knowledge. So we didn't see everything, every basic stuff in English. We directly started with the conjugation, but in Spanish grammar we saw the nouns, adjectives, pronouns, conjugation, determiners, and stuff like that. And then Spanish vocabulary, it was just like the English one, so all the vocabulary about family, weather, eating, drinking, Christmas, etc. And we also had a big focus on when and how you have to translate a proper noun from English, for example, to Spanish, or to Spanish from French or Spanish to the other language. And yeah, that's also very useful, and I had no idea there were these kind of rules. Which, yeah, makes sense, but I just didn't know. So it was very interesting. And then Spanish vocabulary, no, sorry, Spanish overall, so listening, talking, speaking. It was, yeah, the same as the English one. We would watch YouTube videos and then had to summarize them. So yeah, it was a bit different, but kind of the same idea. So that's it for the subjects that we had during the whole year. Now I'm gonna talk about the subjects that we only had during the first semester, plus what I've just said, of course. They don't disappear. So we had philosophy. We talked about how a shock it was for the European population to learn about the Chinese civilization and China, because they had no idea this civilization existed, and yeah, it was really a shock for them to discover it. So we talked, the main focus of the course was about that. For me, we talked a little bit too much about the European point of view and not enough from the Chinese point of view, but I guess that we just didn't have enough time to cover it fully on both sides. Then, this one you had to choose between history of art or sociology. I chose history of art, so I can't really talk about sociology. I just know that my friends that did it, they loved it, but I don't really know what was the focus on. But history of art, we talked about the antiquity, the Middle Ages, and basic stuff that you learn in history of art. What else? Yeah, French linguistics. That was complicated, but very interesting to know how the French language works. We talked about sociolinguistics as well. It was very interesting because I had no idea all the all those stuff existed, and yeah, that's it. Anyway, next one on the list, French phonetics. Yes. Because even though it's our native language, they are a lot of stuff about pronunciation that we don't really know. I even learned that some words I thought I pronounced them correctly, well, it was wrong. So it was a bit of a shock. Well, not a shock, but I was, yeah, surprised about that fact. But anyway, yes, so we saw the rules that there are in French phonetics, and we also had to be able to transcribe a text from French to French phonetics symbols, because all the sounds that we have in French, like un, e, well, they have a particular sign symbol that you have to know. And in the end, for me, kind of became a game to think about a French word, and then I would be like, oh, I would transcribe it into blah blah blah, and then I would check it on word reference or another website, and I would be, oh, I was right, oh, I was wrong. And yeah, in the end, for me, it almost began to be a game. So really, really liked it, even though it was really hard, because yes, as I said, for some words I had no idea I was mispronouncing them, but still very interesting. And then that's it for the first semester. For the second one, we had some law lessons, and this was 4 hours a week. And we learned about the Belgian government, how it's working, the Belgian state, and we also talked about the rights that you have as a worker in a company, entrepreneurship. So, yes, a little bit like the basics that you have to know and that will always be useful in your life. And then, almost the last one, English culture. It was just 1 hour a week. We had 3 different teachers. With the first one, we talked about Great Britain, the Isle of Ireland, what else? Africa, America, Asia, Australia, and New Zealand. Well, basically the whole world, and why some countries have a big English influence and why they speak English over there. So yes, I mean, it, yeah, might doesn't sound very interesting, but I can assure you that it was very nice, and I learned a lot of stuff about many countries. And then that's the last one, also 1 hour a week, Spanish culture. So this one was mainly focused about Spain, while English culture was about the whole world. Oh, no, I forgot. Sorry. So, what I just said about Ireland, Australia, and all of that, it was with the first teacher. Sorry. With the second one, we learned about the history of the English language, and with the last teacher, we talked about the Black Lives Matter movement, and we had to read a book linked to that. And now I think that's it for that subject. So the last one, sorry, Spanish culture, it was very focused about on Spain. So we had to learn its geography, demography, the influence of the Spanish language in the world, also the different languages that are spoken in Spain, because there isn't only Spanish, or three other languages, I think, and tourism in Spain, religion in Spain, and music in Spain with flamenco and all of that stuff. Well, I think that's it. Yes, that's it. If you have any questions, just write them in the comments. I will happily answer them. And keep in mind that it was just the lessons that we saw from my point of view at my university. Not every university worked that way. But as I said, translation is translation, so I don't think there are many stuff that change. But who knows? I don't know. I just know that because it's the only university I've been to. Anyway, I'm getting lost. Have a good day. Bye.